Hello. Hello, hello. Welcome. Yes. Okay. Hello, divine being. This is the True Self Talk that happen every Tuesday and Thursdays, where the goal is not to bring you more absolute truths, but rather to open space for new perceptions so our questions can change. I am Ella Morello, and this is the episode number 70, named Creativity and Sexuality. Before we start, I want to remind you that a couple of times a year I give free online workshops to help in your spiritual and self knowledge path. This is a way I found to contribute in your journey free of charge. So stay tuned in the channels so you don't miss this gift. So, as always, let's dive into our talk of today. And the first question I want to ask you is, how is your sexual life? How is your creative life? Oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, it was said here that she believes the spiritual people cannot think about sex, like they have transcended the body. Really interesting point. Well, there is a lot of confusion and fear, wounds, distortion about around the sex topic in our culture. You know, we all know that it's a topic surrounded by taboos. You know, and becoming the human being that we are meant to be requires us to look at our beliefs about sex. So, for example, you know, I'm gonna talk here man, woman, boy, girl. Please remember, this is not an absolute truth. I'm just inviting you to open space for new perceptions. So, whatever I say here and your mind takes you somewhere, allow it to go. You know, let this insights come, whatever is reality for you. Okay, so for example, women from a really young age, they are taught what sexy looks like, right? They just look at a magazine and that's how sexy should look like, or they turn on the TV, or they look at the billboards. And the girl, she grew up believing that that's what sexy means. Also, boys, they're also taught that. They look at the magazine, and a lot of men up to today still believe that what is sexy is that, you know? And today I want to take us to understand a couple of possible beliefs that we may have around sex, right? So I'm going to talk specifically right now. Well, more for women, let's put it this way, but not honestly specifically. But there are three ways that you can think about sex, especially being a woman. One is basically the first one, you believe that sexuality is dirty, it's sinful. Your sexuality has to be controlled because if not, you're gonna burn in hell. Another one that it was said here, sexuality is not spiritual. Look how nice this belief is. With your sexuality, you can be shameful. You can get into trouble. You might get hurt. People might reject you, and so on. So you can look at your sexuality in this way. Or, on the other hand, you might believe that it's only through your sexuality that you are going to get what you want in life. Look how interesting. Uh, it is, if I am popular, if I am noticed, appreciated, find a mate, I will obtain material possession. I will obtain whatever I want in life. And for that, I need to be sexy, because if you think about it, what is the first thing that the mate, someone that is out there looking for someone, looks at? Your appearance, right? So this is one way of looking at sexuality. And then we have the third way, which is a mix of them too, which is, yes, I need to be sexy and desirable. And by the way, sexy, the way everybody thinks sexy is, right? That being sexy is, look just at the cover of the magazines. Another way is, okay, I have to be sexy in order to be able to get what I want in life. However, I can only be sexy up to this level, up to this point. Because after that, I'm going to be considered a slut. After that, I'm not going to be taken seriously. So I have to be sexy up to a certain level in order to get something. And then, there is also, this is a good one. And however, between closed doors, you better be sexy. Because if you're not, your mate is going to look for someone sexier than you outside. Well, those are basically like the three options we can be looking at sex, at these beliefs we have about sex. That a lot of times we don't stop by for a second and pay attention to them. And as I said, for us to become the human beings we are meant to become, we are required to look at these beliefs. Okay, so my invitation is, let's pick up all these beliefs and throw down in the trash, and let's start from the beginning. What is our sexual energy? First of all, okay, let's put a couple of points here. One point: sexual energy is not necessarily related to sex. Excuse me. Our sexual energy is a potent force of nature that dances through everything that exists. It is the control driving force of creation in this planet. Think about it. Everything that exists got created through something, and that was through our sexual energy. And you're going to understand how the sexual energy is related to our creative processes. Meaning, we need to use this energy, create, in order to manifest in this world. We need to use our sexual energy in order to procreate and manifest in this world. So it is the central driving force of creation. Look how important it is for us to look at our beliefs about sex and throw them into the trash if we want to actually reclaim our sexuality and creativity. 2, good sex can take us out of our mind, literally into this beautiful pleasure of our body. Also, it takes us to different consciousness, this realm. It also liberates blockages that we have. So the great sex, it takes away our personality, our little self, our ego, in order for us to feel our soul, our connection to life. Sometimes our sexual life is going to be hot like fire. Sometimes it's going to be simply like the ocean, the flowing of the water in the ocean. And your breath, your breathing enhances this playfulness. while stress decreases it. So why people that say, that complains that they are, their sexual life is not active or is not the way they wanted it to be and so on, if you really look at it and ask them, are you stressed? They're going to for sure say yes. So that's the whole thing. When we're living from our mind, we don't allow this other part of our being, this life force, to come through us, right? There is something I'm going to teach you right now, right away, I guess, since I talk about breathing. There is a really nice technique that later on the talk, I'm going to give you a couple of tips for us to, recoup this sacred sexuality. But since I talked about breathing, there is, I don't know if you are familiar with Tantra. If you are not, go do your research. There is a lot of material for free in the internet. It's really interesting. It's really beautiful. And it teaches us one part, okay? It's much more deeper than this. But it teaches us how to activate this energy within ourselves, by ourselves. And I want to teach you a breathing technique for you to create intimacy, to allow to feel this energy in your body, your sexual energy, going through your body. Okay, in this exercise, I'm gonna tell you to do with a partner. Okay, later on, I'm gonna teach you things to do by yourself and so on. But since this is a breathing technique, the invitation is this simple. Next time you're gonna have a relationship, a sexual relationship with someone, for you to create intimacy, I would really invite you to, well, obviously, naked, hopefully, uh, uh, ideally, you guys can sit looking at each other. Okay, so you're gonna sit, you can cross your legs like this, and you're gonna be looking into each other's eyes. Whenever you're looking into each other's eyes, stay there breathing, simply normally breathing. You breathing, the other person breathing, okay? And start feeling this connection. It's important for you to keep your eyes looking in the eyes of that person. If you feel like it, you can put a music or anyways. And you are there connecting with that person. Then we are gonna do a breathing together. So both of you are gonna inhale together, looking into each other's eyes, and exhaling together. Okay, you're gonna do this 3 times. A couple of deep breath, deep, looking to the person, inhaling and exhaling. And after that, the invitation is that you do round breathing together, meaning whenever the woman inhales, the man exhales. Whenever the woman exhales, the man inhales. And I'm putting man and woman, but it can be whoever your partner. So partner number 1 inhales, partner number 2 exhale. And you create this flow of breath. Another thing is, before any touching, right? As we know, the sexual energy is much more than our genitals. So before any touching, right now, we're just working our breathing, our contact, looking into each other's eyes. So before we start this, any type of touching, the invitation is start discovering. You can get what is the name of this? Feather. Feather. You can get a feather and start like going around the other person's body, or you doing even on your own body, because we don't know, but there is a lot of parts in our body that this current of energy is simply not looked at by us, but we can activate this part by literally a simple touch, by literally a gentle touching. Okay, so I'm inviting you to explore all of this, these techniques, before even going back to understanding that sex has to do with penetration. Sex is much more than penetration, right? Okay, point number 4. I know, I'm sorry, I guess it's 3, right? I know, 4. Sexual energy forms deep roots of our creativity and passion. Okay, they are related. Okay, pay attention to that. That's why I ask you, how is your sex life and how is your creative life, right? Always let's remember, these are the new, let's say, beliefs and understandings about sexuality that we are creating here. So our sexuality is sacred and it's really individual, and all types of sexual expressions are valid as long as there is consentment. Okay, that's a really important part. But there is a lot of old teachings that prove to us how sexuality was sacred in the past. There is a lot of stories or of myths on how women, they were losing their virginity, and they literally were offering their bodies in this temple as a way to reach the divine. All this sexualization that, somehow we made our bodies be just like flesh, like a meat, something that we sell, something. This idea is a modern concept, and this has really took us out, this the pornography industry. Truly, this has really taken us out of our contact with our sexual energy, this life force that live within. Okay, remember, it is sacred and it is inside of you. So we have ways. I'm going to give a couple of tips that you have to practice, because it's not just knowing this, is activating that energy again and again, until this is, instead of you wanting to get rid of the energy, you're going to ask yourself, how I'm going to channel this energy, which is completely different. And well, it is important. The last point before we move on is, it is important for us to learn about our own sexual flow before we decide to play to anyone with others. Okay? So, I wanted to bring the archetype of the high priestess, right? The high priestess from the tarot. She is a priestess, obviously, and she's also called a virgin. And there's a lot of misconceptions about that, because being a virgin doesn't mean that she's non-sexual. Being a virgin means that actually she is sovereign. She owns her sexuality. Meaning, whenever she is in a sexual act, uh, she's not trying to court the other, and she doesn't allow herself to be courted. She uses her sexuality to, as an expression of this life force, and not in order to manipulate or hook other people. She's never sexual out of obligation. So look how important it is for us to look at our beliefs about sex. Because yes, a lot of us still believe that, oh my God, even though I don't want to, my boyfriend, my husband is going to leave me if I am not having sex with him out of obligation. A lot of us, is so common that I hear clients, people, women in women circles that, whenever they have the eros, that we talked about all these hormones already, whenever they are in this eros state, they are like enjoying, they're exploring, they're feeling their sexual energy. And after these hormones, the eros phases stop, and they are supposed to create that bridge that we talked about between passion to love. Every day that passes, they get drier and drier and drier, right? So, yeah. So it's important. My point was, for us to, before exploring with the other, remember, it's on us. It's about us. Okay, we have this power. We are being invited to heal and clear any beliefs that do not allow us to access this life force. And this might be fear of rejection, the obligation, the oh my God, this always happens to me. And why? Well, we are always believing this comes from the outside, not from the inside out. So I want to invite you to pay attention to two areas of your life. First, I have a question. Do you feel comfortable in your body? That's a really big one. And second, do you fear power? Fear power. Okay, if you do not feel sexy, if you do not feel comfortable in your body, I have a suggestion for you, which is going to be like this. For whatever reason we talked a little bit here about a couple of reasons that could be possible, but if you are not comfortable with your body, you're going to dance naked in front of a mirror every day until you remember the sacredness of your body, until you are able to release that hatred, those complaints, those beliefs that it should be somehow different. You're going to do that every day until you literally feel comfortable in your body. Okay, if you have the fear of power, also it can come from a lot of places, but for example in childhood a lot of girls heard, oh, you're too crazy, too adventurous, be more like a lady, hey, this is too much, be sweet, those type of things. And the point is, our sexuality is powerful because it is a life force flowing through you. So as you reclaim your sexuality to yourself, you'll become more confident, of course. And when you access its flow, this is going to bring you incredible movement in all areas of your life. So ask yourself, close your eyes, do meditation, go to your subconscious, try to remember what was said to you when you were a kid. What was wrong? What could you be? What could you not be? What was approved? What was not? I'm talking here about the girls that had to be like a lady, blah, 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 blah. And now there is a lot of fear of power. A lot of women even today don't believe they can say what they want in bed or what they don't want. In the case of the boy, remember, like maybe your family was saying like, oh, wow, this is my boy, so many women. And the sexual energy of this guy was so spread around, because that's how he felt, that he never actually channeled the energy anyways. He was actually just sitting around because of his ego. Oh my God, I'm such a great man. Look at me. I stay with everyone. I'm the guy. And literally, we all know that by the end of this, there's no conscience in any of it. Whenever we are having a sexual relationship with someone, we don't know this, because if we truly knew this, we would be much more selective, because the amount of energy that you exchange with the person, it stays with you. We like numbers, right? We like labels. Okay, for at least, let's put it this way, 6 months. If that person has like darkness, is going through a hard time, wants to get suicide, I don't know, and you met this person in a club and you have a sexual relationship with her, you have any idea how you guys are interacting through that energy? Okay, so see, it's not just girls, it's boys as well. Okay, so important questions to pay attention. You feel comfortable in your body, and are you afraid of power? So, Ella, how do we reclaim our sexuality? I want to invite you to do two things. One is, well, before I invite you to do anything, I need to put this to charge because wait, just 1 second. Okay, no, not open. Light is back. Okay. So we're back. Um, well, I wanted to invite you for two things. One, run sexual experiments. Okay. First, we need to the first thing before we do that, honestly, is know your intent. Why do you want to run more sexual energy? Are you ready to clear out whatever is not aligned to that from your being? Always remember that the sexual energy is a life force. Okay? So, growing your sexual capacity and pleasure will bring you more creative, vibrancy, joy in life, in all aspects of your life. However, it's important that you remember your intent. So, what do I mean by running sexual experiments? Well, you can do anything from touching yourself to talking to your partner about a fantasy and trying to create experiment things that you have not experienced before and you think you want to do it. It can be literally anything. It can literally be a sensual energy while eating. How? Well, go to an exotic place or prepare for yourself exotic food. Put the lights down. I don't know, like put a lot of spices. Smell that food. See how that makes you feel. Eat that food. How it tastes. You understand? So have that experience. This is one way to explore our sexuality. So you can be as creative as you want. Um, but the important part whenever doing that is consciously decide to experiment because this will show you places where healing is needed. Places and in the next step, going a little bit deeper, whenever you realize where healing is needed in your sexual life, you're going to understand in which areas of your life you need to create more flow as well. Okay? And the second invitation that I have for you today is conscious creation. So by now we know that also this sexual energy, since it's a life force of creation, it's also our creative energy. You can use sex to actually reproduce the most creative art of all. But you can also take this energy to birthing anything from a book to a career to a painting to whatever. When you channel this energy, everything becomes art. So if you're having creative blockages and so on, it's time to look at your sexuality. It's time to look and pay attention. What am I trying to birth as a project? Okay, I'm not even talking right now about kids. We're talking about creativity. Which force, which pleasure, which sexual force I'm given to this project in order to be able to birth this project into the world. Another thing that I said about men, right? And we talk about sex, like, okay, he's staying with everyone, believing he's the guy. And I said that he's actually releasing energy. He's not using the energy in a focused direction. This can happen also in our creative part. Maybe you're a person that you are so creative and you're like seeding 1,000 projects, but you are dispersing all this energy, your sexual energy, your creative energy is dispersed. So nothing actually grows. You're just sitting, and nothing has the strength to grow, to manifest. So the invitation is, instead of you, I got this creative energy or this sexual energy, instead of you deciding to release, when you go and you are like, I want to have sex, or I'm feeling horny, and then you masturbate, let's put it this way, and in like 10 minutes you're done and you're like, okay, let's me move on with my day. Instead of you trying to get rid of that energy, the invitation is, I am feeling sensual, I'm feeling sexual. Where can I channel this energy? And that's how you focus in your creative projects, through your sexual energy. Okay, so remember, it's doesn't matter if you're gardening, dancing, if you feel sexy, like when you put a lingerie under your work thing. Remember, it's never about the other. Okay, we are igniting our own energy. By the way, the breathing that technique that I showed you, you can do that with yourself. Look at the mirror, sit naked there, and do this breathing with you. Another option as well. Of course, there is this theme that, I mean, we are out of time right now, but I want to take it just a little bit, which is, if you have suffered any sexual trauma, it is normal that there is a lot right there, right? And it's common that you probably dissociate anytime sex, if you haven't do your healing journey for that trauma, you probably, or you don't do sex, or you dissociate when you try to do it. And for that, obviously, you know by now that this is requires a deeper work. But I want to tell you here that I want to invite you actually to start exploring the sexual energy by your creativity. Do everything that we talked here, but start with your creativity. This will open this energy in you, and maybe you're going to be able to overcome that. It is important for us to pay attention that, first of all, you have to take out the perpetrator out of your womb. You have to. You have to accept that happened. You have to let go. Because, yes, you were a victim, but you feeling a victim today is just not allowing you to live your best life, and you don't deserve that. Nothing that you can do today will change the past, but something that you can do today can change how you experiment yourself in the future. Okay, so that's it in this part of the talk, in the talk. If you need to send me any message for me to suggest you other talks, feel free, I'm here for you. And just to finalize this, uh, I want to invite you in this creative process. Another way that you can activate this creative process is by doing a creative brainstorm. So, for example, let's say get a problem. It's nice to do with people, but again, you can also do just by yourself. So you get a problem. Let's put that the problem is, I think so, okay, a problem. My relationship just ended and I want to do things in a new way. Now I invite you to do not edit, do not go back and track whatever it is. The invitation is for you to sit there and simply write. Okay, write, let it come. Doesn't matter if it's not reality. Okay, so creative ways to solve that problem. So, for example, have a divorcing celebration with your closest friends. Spend a week in a retreat, nourishing yourself. Take time alone to do something you have always dreamed of. Shave your head and dedicate your next years to meditating. Volunteer to help children. Find a great therapist. I don't know. The invitation is okay, something like more crazy for you to understand, doesn't have to have anything with reality. Uh, Another problem, let's say you have problems with your kid because your kid doesn't want to sleep and then doesn't want to wake up. Okay, tell him he's going to sleep in the school. Obviously, this is not reality, but the invitation is for you to use your brain, create creatively, okay? Out of, oh, this is not reality, this is reality. This is what can be done, this is what cannot be done. Picasso, I think it was Picasso, because this is there in my wall. It's a postcard that I just saw the other day that says something like this: the chief uh not creator, the chief enemy, something like that. The chief enemy of creativity is good sense. So I'm gonna finish with this phrase for you to remember. The chief enemy of your sexual energy, your sexual expression, your creative energy, your creative expression is good sense. Let's throw all the good sense into the trash. And let's start activating this so we can actually feel the sacredness and feel the truth behind our sexual energy, life force. Thank you once again for being here. I wish you a great weekend and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye bye.